Hello friends and adventurers, today we'll be covering the review of Gothic Arkona. What's it about? Arkona is a Gothic 2 fully voiced mod with English voice acting. It was developed by David Rusnak and Adam Benesovsky and released in July 2024. Also, it was tested by a team that has its own reputation in the Gothic community. Testers like Fortuno, the developer of the Mertana.net website, which is the best place to check out the Gothic modding scene. So, already it has some experienced names who have worked on it. Let's get into the intro because it's pretty self-explanatory.
War. There is nothing more that I wish to let vanish from my life. The great war against orcs has begun, and I have received a mission that is meant to change the course of events. Magic ore has become ineffective. I was sent into the monastery of fire mages to get information about one legend, an ancient artifact filled with powerful magic. It is believed to be kept in the old chapel located on a small island somewhere in the middle of eastern waters. Whoever owns the crystal becomes indestructible for any army in the world. So I have put together my own group of people and started this long journey. We have to pray that the legend is true.
Peace. There is nothing more that I desire in my life. The guards keep the streets safe and protect us from the dangers outside the gates of our city, allowing us to focus on our everyday work. That's something I truly wish for as an ordinary citizen of Khorinis. However, one day, the peace came to an end. We were attacked by orcs. There could be hundreds of them. They managed to destroy a main gate and ran into the city, ripping everything and everyone to pieces. Despair, fear, suffering, blood. I could see everything. But if I stay, I would become one of those smelly corpses spread in the streets. I had only one chance to escape. I was running through that horrifying scene. I could feel someone chasing me, and it was definitely not a human being. Fortunately, I made it to the port, and that brought me a small glimmer of hope. I don't know how many days I spent on the sea until I finally reached land. Land so far from my home. Land that still has no place on the map. Land that is without title until now.
Arkona tells the story of Gerrin, fleeing from the horrors of war in a rickety sailing boat. Khorinis has fallen, so the story is set right after the nameless hero left Khorinis in Gothic 2, but the events in Gothic 3 haven't transpired quite yet. He ends up on the small remote island of Arkona. Right off the bat, we begin the game washed up on the shore with nothing but the clothes on our back. We encounter a friendly face that lays it down for us. A friendly hunter called Elias. We're on a small island, there are no orcs, but our prospects are grim. Arkona is a small island. So small that it doesn't even appear on royal maps or charts. There are no cities, no trading posts, no harbors, or castles we can seek refuge in. There's only a small farm and a remote lighthouse manned by some soldiers that look a little worse for the wear. Between us and that, there's about 100 monsters seeking to take a bite out of us. Welcome to Arkona. One of the things I like to start with is Gerrin, the hero. I like him, and his very character sets the tone for this mod. He saw the writing on the wall in Khorinis, decided to hoof it out of there, and his ambition is to stay alive. No dragons, no demon king leeches, just stay alive. I like the tone of this mod and the fact that it's not trying to be an ambitious epic game. It has a humble scope and it perfectly nails it. It's also a breath of fresh air from the thousands of games and mods out there that try to craft these epic sagas of the apocalyptic battle between good and evil shadow and light, and 99% of them fail utterly at them. I like small stories that have the ambition to just tell a story instead of preaching morality or overdone cliches. The scope of the mod is to just survive and see what happens. Nothing more than that. We get our bearings and walk up a dirt path and reach a house overlooking the beach. Here we meet Raylan, a friendly alchemist/mage. He heals our body from dehydration and exhaustion and sets us on a small quest to retrieve a plant for him from the nearby farm. I like this natural progression to going from one place to another. Good introduction. On our way to the farm, we encounter a shady-looking fella named Gale. Gale seems the bandity type, and he tries to bully Gerrin. Big mistake on Gale's part since I have Gerrin's back. We kick Gale's ass and start establishing our dominion on Arkona. One ass kicking at a time. There is only one farm on this island, it's just that small. It does make me wonder though, considering there's about 6 people on the farm, plus Elias the hunter and Raylan the alchemist, can they actually harvest enough food to keep everybody going? This island is ridiculously small. Size-wise, it's as big as the 3 camps in Gothic 1 put together. Sure, they can do some fishing to supplement their diet, and some hunting, but what happens if they hit a bad harvest or a bad winter? There's only so many animals on the island that the tragedy of the commons can happen. It's just a weird question since there's no trading post or a port to have goods exchange and a flow of food. Anyway, since we're playing Arkona, the map will definitely become depopulated soon. I pity the farmers, but we do need that sweet experience. We do some quests for the farmers, from Gothic to callback quests like pulling turnips or giving somebody some wine to killing some wolves and field raiders. Right here, I want to talk about Gerrin's motivation. He is obviously interested in being left alone and dealing with the trauma of seeing Khorinis fall. Why is he becoming a warrior? Is it his way to deal with that trauma? Because right now, Gerrin is most likely just trying to survive. We'll see how this develops. We find out from the local farmers that a contingent of royal troops have set up a base near the lighthouse. The farmers aren't happy since the troops' arrival can only mean bad news. I mean, I get it. In the Gothic lore at this point, the kingdom of Mertana is getting its ass kicked by the orcs. If you had a farm on a remote island and had your own slice of peaceful bliss, would you be happy if the military suddenly showed up and demanded food? There's no orcs on the island. I understand the farmers. Especially after we do a few jobs for them, the head of the farm, a serious man named Beckett, blesses Gerrin with a set of farmer's clothes so we have some decent protection now. On a side note, there's also a fun sheep on the farm we can talk to. The sheep is called Charlie.
Hello.
If you give Charlie extra plants, she rewards you with experience. Thanks, Charlie. We also get some bandits near the farm that secretly arrived on the island. Seems one of the farmers, by the name of Florian, is an asshole and he's doing shady business with them. Raylan asks us to help him divine the intentions of the bandits and militia. He heard the bandits are looking for something of a magical nature and he's worried. His suspicions are correct. Talking to the bandits, we find out they came here looking for easy scores and some sort of magical artifact. But the bandits really just want a quick score, get a magical thingamajig and sell it for a profit. We report back to Raylan with our findings. Then we need to head to the militia lighthouse next. At this point in the game, we can also start multiclassing. Since Arkona is a small area with just a few characters, the only man we can learn magic from is Raylan. Unlike Gothic 1 or 2 though, we don't get official mages to teach us. Instead, Arkona chooses an elegant but simple solution to this problem. Raylan gives us a few books to study and gives us a quiz on them. If we pass, we learn the first level of magic for free and we can buy runes from him from this point on. The runes are expensive and the economy of Arkona properly reflects small prospects for getting rich. One thing I really appreciated was the fact that the developers added a sprint rune. Such a simple, straightforward addition, but I love it. Just cast a spell and you move faster. Wish we had that in Gothic 2 or other mods. In my humble opinion, the sprint rune is the best idea Arkona ever implemented. I love sprinting, Call me Speedy Gonzales. Andale. We eventually arriba Gerrin's ass to the lighthouse to meet the militia troops. They're annoying. They treat Gerrin like trash and are arrogant as hell. Seems they aren't really happy about their current assignment, which is as mysterious to them as it is to the farmers or Raylan. They're led by a paladin lord, a pompous and self-righteous prick as all paladins in Gothic. We do menial tasks for the local militia, their workers, ranging from solving disputes to gathering food or materials, so we're eligible to talk to Mr. Paladin Fancy Pants. From what we surmise, he's a pretty crappy leader. He's sequestered himself aloof and apart from his underlings, and morale is at an all-time low. Yeah, this tracks for the paladins in the lore. They're terrible. The first conversation we have with Sagar the Paladin, and he already wants to sentence us to death. Yay, paladins. Wonder why they're losing the war. I'm just gonna call it and score Sagar already as a 1 on a dick scale. Gerrin tells him he's a war refugee, and Sagar belittles him for having the insolence of not dying with the rest of the people in Khorinis. I also wanna remind everybody that the lower somebody is on the dick scale, the greater the asshole they are. He dismisses us, and we talk to his second in command, a paladin that scores about as much as him on the dick scale. Yay. Seems we need to impress some people in the camp so Gerrin, the paladin, can allow us to join the militia here. It's important to note, Gerrin isn't joining the militia out of patriotism or nationalistic fervor. He owes Raylan for helping him. So we basically go undercover here to further Gerrin's goals. We impress Gerrin and he makes us a troop commander to prove we're on his side. By that, I mean he gives us some of his people to hunt down some wolves, and then he tasks us to kill a big gold shadow beast Fluff. Hope we're soon square with Raylan, because I hate these militia pricks. We manage to complete our tasks and swear an oath as a guard. Hoorah! We're a red grunt monkey. Give me a sword and some crayons to eat. Now that we're officially part of the Mertenian Brown Shirts, Lord Sagard spills the beans. Seems they're losing the war, and they read in some dusty book in the far reaches of Normar that a powerful artifact lies on this island. An artifact that can turn the tide of the war. Now, for context, at this point in the Gothic lore series, the orcs are besieging the capital, and the kingdom of Myrtana is in imminent defeat. See, let me explain why the paladins and militia are losing the war. They see a crumbled wall. They attack the wall with swords. The swords break. They attack the wall with swords again. The swords break again. Part of the wall comes crashing down and kills a few soldiers. The conclusion of the paladins and soldiers, they need magical swords to attack the wall. In this case, the magic wall is an undead knight guarding a tomb in a dark forest behind the farm. There is a creepy forest and there is a tomb. If you try to attack the undead paladin there, he's invincible and you can't do any damage. The paladins and militia basically treated the undead creature as a wall. I'm honestly pissed off at the stupidity of the paladins here. Or perhaps the writer intentionally made them incompetent. I'm right now playing a paladin in a Dungeons & Dragons setting, and let me tell you, they are fully equipped to handle skeletons. Paladins and clerics. But I'm guessing Lord Sagar was on the shallow end of the paladin genetic pool. We explored the tomb area and come back with a book. This book will be our plot instruction manual. We report back to Raylan, and this book seems to depict a ritual about invoking a chosen one. I do appreciate Raylan here straight up telling us that this sounds like a fairy tale.
Powerful magic that might make its owner and his army undefeatable.
That sounds like a pretty fairy tale.
Good realism note there. Okay, since we're starting to lean into the trope of the chosen one / magical fingermagic plot device. I am not a fan of those. Maybe because I've read enough fantasy books and played enough RPGs, it just seems overused. Some people like that, and I respect that, but it's just not my cup of tea. Alright, let's see where this goes. Raylan tells us to gather some more clues, so we go back into the dark forest. We pick up some scattered notes about some people getting possessed and losing their minds. The mystery deepens. We find from Raylan, and our many hours of playing RPGs, that we need a Destroy Undead spell scroll to defeat the undead paladin guarding the tomb. The issue is the spell creation requires holy water. If only we had some warriors of light that could bless water easily and for free, like in Dungeons and Dragons. So we go back to the paladins, and the capitalist warriors demand 400 gold pieces for one bottle of holy water. For reference, back in Gothic 2, it was just 30 gold pieces. Bastards. We craft a spell scroll, use it on the undead, and the game trolls us. Seems the undead paladin was guarding a gate. If we use a hidden switch near the gate, we find a bottle of holy water for free. Nice secret, but I felt really salty when I found that bottle. We also get a mysterious artifact which looks like a focus stone from Gothic 1, and it's also on the title cover of the mod, the artifact. Back to Raylan. What follows is a quest where we charge up this artifact and follow the instruction manual of the book to do a ritual. Raylan does his song and dance, and boom! A mighty roar is heard, and the undead start rising from the ground. Whoopsie. This is why the instruction manuals for wizards should never be written in cursive. We enter chapter 3, The Awakening. We run back to check on the farmers and everybody. Elias, the friendly hunter that greeted us, is gone. He was eaten by zombies. The farmers seem okay so far. They even got some fresh walking fertilizer right now. Back on the beach, we get some visitors. A huge ship that looks like a merchant cog is docked near the shoreline. Are they pirates? Reinforcements? A contingent of troops sent to battle this evil? Nope. Just 2 paladins. What? Small pet peeve here, but I'm not an expert on sailing and navigation, but how can 2 paladins man the rigging, the wheel, set the anchor, hoist and lower the sails, all on their own? This can be easily fixed by simply adding 12 or so unnamed sailors on the ship to sell the idea at least. Seems these 2 paladins were sent here to find the fate of Sagard's expedition that set sail months ago. Interesting. Then this puts Sagard's expedition chronologically before or during the events of Gothic 2, at least when they started. Back to Raylan. He has a funny line to us that could just as well be about any player adventuring in a Dungeons & Dragons adventure.
Gerrin, why haven't you told me about this?
About what?
About what?
Look at this book.
Yeah, what about it?
I guess that you haven't checked it.
I did.
Well,
Gerrin, I expected you to seek the whole area. Not just taking the first book lying on the table and getting out.
He says the ritual we just conducted backfired because we didn't have all the ingredients, aka someone that is clean of all sins and carrying the honor of the God of Light. Huh, you mean somebody like a ideal of a paladin? Okay, guess we gotta make Gerrin innocent. Hard to do since I was a thief in every Gothic game I've played. We got a lot of sins. Raylan also emphasizes that every person that has died on this island never found eternal peace, so there is a curse holding over this place. What follows is a convoluted quest where we have to face the avatars of all the elements, fire, water, earth, and air, and convince them to release the spirits of the dead. Complicated, I know. We accomplish that, and the final step we need to do now is destroy the artifact we got from the tomb. Raylan gives us a spell scroll, the artifact is prepped and ready, we just have to mummy the hell out of this one and decurse this island. We reach the tomb and a dark magician waits for us inside. His name is Gerzul, and he's unfortunately a cliché demon. This demon essentially lured people to this island with legends of treasures, and when they died, he took their souls. These souls were essentially used as batteries to power some elements he controls, so he can raise an army for Beliar, the god of darkness. Okay, so he's basically trying to impress his boss in the most convoluted way possible. Got it. Some people do quiet quitting, some people do quiet ass-kissing. Gerzul is the latter one. He has the usual overdone baddie monologue, how the world will soon learn of his power, and everybody will own nothing and be happy. The boss fight is alright for the most part, except the ending. Towards the end he just teleports left and right in the tomb and he does a lot of damage. Raylan fortunately pops in to help, and without his aid, the fight would be impossible. Once the baddie is down, Raylan congratulates us. Gerzul is down, and with his death, the crystal was destroyed, and the curse upon the island finally lifted. Scratch 1 victory for the good guys, and -1 for Beliar. Also, at the end of the fight, we learned that Raylan was a water mage in disguise all along. He just chose this island as his retirement home, due to it being a peaceful place. I can get behind that. We go back to Lord Sigard and give him the bad news. The artifact he's been searching for was nothing but a conduit of evil. The mission is a failure. It's time to pack up and head back to the ship. I kinda feel robbed here since we are never given a choice for Gerrin to stay on the island. We're railroaded here so Gerrin is suddenly filled with patriotism and courage and wants to be a militiaman. In my headcanon, Gerrin stays on the island and enjoys the peace he fought so hard for. We say goodbye to Raylan, the surviving farmers, and board the ship. We get an ending cutscene, which is pretty rare to see in any mod. Cue the ending.
After the last man stepped on board, our captain ordered us to untie the ropes and pull up the anchor. Sigard and his crew seemed to be relieved after the ship started moving, and so was I. Those everlasting days spent on the island have finally reached the end. However, the effort that we all put into the mission seemed to be completely useless. Well, that's what most people would think. For me personally, it's a new life opportunity. The beginning that has always been prepared for me. Serve the king and Mirtana. Fight the evil that took my home and family. Protect the weaker ones. This cruise is gonna take a while, for sure. Our plan is to reach the southern village of Cape Dun, which should be one of the last places that are not occupied by hordes of orcs. That's what Walden told us, at least. We'll have to pray that it's true.
Oh, Cape Dun, huh? For those who aren't aware, if you play Gothic 2 and Gothic 3, the very start of the game in Gothic 3 has you in the southern part of the kingdom, aka the area around Cape Dun. Cape Dun is conquered by orcs already, and there's even a couple of dragons slumbering under it. Gerrin and his crew is in for some fun in their future. So that's Arkona. Personally, if I could change only one thing in the story, and that's just for my taste, is I would do away with the entire demon baddie plotline. Imagine this alternate plot for a second. I think it would have been more fun to have the artifact more as a red herring than anything. Lord Sigard and the militia show up and they don't find anything. A bit later, the orcs show up, curious why there's a royal troop here looking for a powerful artifact to end the war. Then the game evolves into convincing both sides there's no real artifact, and they just need to get the hell out of the island and leave the poor people alone. This island holds no real value, it's not big enough for a military base, it doesn't have any minerals, and no agricultural potential. I think that would have been a more interesting approach to the story, like playing politics between the orcs and the humans. But hey, that's in the realm of ifs and buts. Again, just personal taste, not judging the approach the developers took. It's a fun little mod, and you can feel the team actually put some heart into it. I even got the opportunity to chat with Chris Cosby, the voice actor for Gerrin. Chris is a self-taught baritone, and he has a nice English-Scottish accent he put into Gerrin. Or maybe it's my ear, but I feel some Scottish blood in his voice.
How long is it gonna take?
It's done!
It's done so quickly?
Why are you so surprised?
Well, doesn't matter. Forget about it.
There's also a custom-made track for this mod, which is present in the outro of this video, so feel free to have a listen to that. The game is fairly short. You can finish it anywhere between 10 or 20 hours, depending on how you explore the content. On the plus side, you cannot get lost, the quests are straightforward, and we have full English voice acting. On the voice acting part, yes, I've read a lot of criticism about the voice acting being cringe at times or phoned in, but for those who aren't aware, it's quite expensive to do professional voice acting, especially if you want studio quality. This little game, like many others, is a free mod, and I will never judge a piece of art made with passion and given away for free with the same metrics as I would judge a game that the developers charge $100 for. Looking at you, the so-called AAA gaming industry. So for a free mod, the voice acting is alright. The developers updated Arkona a couple of times, and the updated 1.02 version has a few quality of life implementations, such as bonuses not counting toward your learning points requirements, and they fix some minor technical issues here and there. So it's a stable mod and you shouldn't encounter issues while playing. Lore-wise, the game actually respects the Gothic lore, and I would claim that it has canonic value in the Gothic lore timeline. We meet characters like Florian, who is mentioned to have studied swordsmanship in Gotha. Characters make references to Khorinis and other places, and the chronological line isn't broken because the game is set between Gothic 2 and Gothic 3. The Paladin's mission is a failure, but the survivors that do manage to sail away will do so to other adventures. So overall, I liked Arkona and I respect the passion the developers had. Their ambition was to make a small short story without epic bells and whistles, and they completely succeeded. That alone is a victory. Better a humble story that knows itself than a large novel that doesn't know what it wants to be. So congratulations to the devs. If you are curious to play the mod, the download link is in the video description. Thank you, friends and adventurers. Until next we meet, stay badass, and remember, the most important story in the world is our own. Cheers, and take care of yourselves.
Hello, adventurer! Please like and subscribe. You can also share the video. Hello? Where are you going? Why are you running? You can support us on Buy Me a Coffee too. Or on Patreon. You can become a free supporter too. Oh, they always do that.
Hello,